Have you realized that our mind is not at ease most of the time? It is endlessly roaming and seeking for something with no rest. This is because mind has no home to come in, to settle on. It is wandering like a bewildered one seeking for a shelter in a jungle. You find shelters, but they are delusive and temporal. No shelter you find in the world can be trusted. They all fall down sooner or later. Every person in this world seems to be lost deep within, having no ground to stand upon. This sense of being rootless is the cause of man's psychological unrest and insecurity. But I say, there is a ground to stand upon. Good news, of course. If you firmly stand on it, it will never slide under the feet. This ground is nothing but the awareness of the body. At any time, you can come upon it. It is the substratum of life. Perhaps you may find this statement strange, but it is true. Awareness of the body is the only ground you can rely upon. Now turn your wandering mind towards the body and rest on it. Learn to base your being upon it. It is your true home. Come back to it on and often. Feel the whole body with all its gross and subtle sensations. Be conscious of the body's postures and movements. Mind is always a disturbing factor. It interferes the awareness and leads you away. The mind keeps on coming back knowingly as well as unknowingly. Drive it from the front door and it will come in from the back door. It is important here to know what is mind. Mind is the bundle of thoughts, imaginations that intervenes and distorts awareness. For instance, say you are staying in the present moment. The moment your attention slacks, thoughts creep in and take you away to the world of thoughts, dreams, memories and fears. This is the mind. Is that clear? What is awareness? The mind momentarily becomes aware, especially when a danger is present. But that awareness is still in the world of thoughts. True awareness is not of the mind. It is beyond mind. The mind is a later development. What was prior to mind? It was pure awareness, which can be also called pure consciousness. Awareness of body is an intrinsic part of pure awareness. It is there when you are mindful of your whole body. Establish your wavering mind on the body awareness with all its sensations. Stay well established. It is such a down-to-earth experience where you can completely rest upon. It is the ground on which you accept the reality of life and what is. Surrender to what is. Completely surrender to what is, without the slightest resistance. All your attempts and struggles to resist, to run away, to escape, to ignore what is, the reality, is not going to help you. Fighting with what is a wastage of energy. You find so many shelters in the world as mentioned earlier. You take shelter in your beliefs, in dogmas, in ideals, and in self-images. But you cannot live in them because they are constructions of mind. They fall down easily. Ultimately, you have to come back to what is. For example, say, a cherished hope of yours shatters away. You suffer You feel hopeless and frustrated. The suffering produces an inner conflict in which you are fighting against pain. So there is friction within. You try to forget it, dry it away. Ultimately, you have to accept what is. Accept it unconditionally. Accept the agony, fear, and the frustration arising in mind. Stay with that pain, hurt, sorrow, or whatever without trying to suppress or justify. Just accept. No use of fighting with it. Move with the pain without deviating from it. This is awareness. This is the acceptance of what is. When you stay with the suffering as it is, your intelligence awakens to the reality of the problem. Look at the problem from the body's perspective. What does the body say about it? You will realize that the body is not concerned of the problems of mind. Body has nothing to do with mind's imaginations. The body is innocent and stays uncontaminated by the mind. The body is pure, but the mind is not. The mind is activated by ego, but the body has no ego. What threatens your ego is not a threat to your body. On the other way, mind interferes with the body's well-being. The disturbed mind disturbs the body. The sick mind makes the body sick. In fact, body is like the innocent horse upon which a mad rider sits and reigns. The mad rider is the ego. True liberation is liberating from the ego and the mind. All suffering is mind-made. Please see how the mind is creating both the suffering and the sufferer. Seeing this, one asks, how to free from the mind? It is the first step in awakening the intelligence. Only a few ask that question, how to free from the mind. Others are still under the spell of mind, worshipping the things of the mind. Still, do you hold the notion that mind is true and real? Still do you identify yourself with the mind, saying, I am the mind. Mind is true. The only way to liberate from the grip of the mind is to stop identifying yourself with the mind. You got it? Only through understanding that the mind is not your true nature, you may come upon the pure consciousness, the dimension of no mind. But the mind may come back. You cannot drive away the mind. It will come back. But now you have realized that the mind is not your true state of being. Then the joys and the sorrows of the mind are not identified as mine. Things of the minds are like passing clouds. They are coming and going. You are watching them from an unattached position as if sitting above them. Wisdom arises from the depth of body awareness. The deeper you go down in awareness, the vision becomes clearer. It is not that you identify yourself with the body. In that awareness, there is no I to identify with either body or mind. Where I is not, there is only the pure existence, pure consciousness.